Hey guys, it's Colin Burnett here today, coming to you from my hometown in Queensland, Australia. I just wanted to, if you got my email, I wanted to get on here and talk to you about your goals and achieving them, getting more out of life, all those sorts of things. If you are in a place where you feel like you're in a rut or you're struggling, you've got something that you need to achieve, or maybe you just don't really know what you're doing at all, you are struggling for hobbies or finding your passions and stuff like that. But basically, if you don't know much about me, I started off originally coming to, sorry, excuse me, originally I come from a farm here in, um, sorry about that again. I come from a farm originally in Queensland, Australia, in the outback Queensland, a fairly remote area, which is kind of a different childhood to a lot of people. It's not actually what you would call a farm. It's more like a ranch with beef cattle and stuff like that. My family have been farmers since a long, like 150 years, coming from England originally. Weren't actually convicts coming to Australia, so that's probably a good thing. But yeah, so I started off. I had a really good childhood. Was a great childhood for boys because we got to run around outside. We got to be very physical and just do the stuff what we want. And it's a really stressful, stress-free environment. And there's so much freedom when you go up on a farm or stuff like that. If you know the feeling, if you don't, well, yeah, I think it is a great childhood, especially for a young guy. But so I grew up with a family business. My dad's basically always worked for himself. He's worked for a couple of people, I think, when he was younger, but basically never really had a boss, or he never had to rely on a job. So that is the environment I grew up with, and I just kind of took that for granted until I ended up leaving the family business when I was in my early 20s. But before that, yeah, I was homeschooled and then had to go away to boarding school for my high school years because just because of geography, really. It was 600 kilometers or 400 miles or something from where I lived to where I went to school. So I used to live there for 5 years, and then I had the opportunity to go away to uni, but I um, ended up going home to the family business. And as I went through my schooling years, I found it difficult, particularly in my early high school years. It was just such great fun. I did a lot of sport. I was pretty good at some sports. I was pretty good at getting grades as well. I was probably a little bit above average student, and I just didn't really apply myself that well, as a lot of kids do, and I never really learnt things about how hard work produces results until I'd left school. So I went through my early high school years pretty well, and then my later high school years were really tough because my dad kind of had a lot of pressure on me to be somebody that I wasn't sure what I wanted to be. And at school as well, I didn't really want to apply myself to the academic sides of things. In sport, I enjoyed it, but I didn't really continue on with any of that, and I didn't really train or do anything like that either because I didn't realize that you need to actually put effort in. And a lot of major sports stars around the world are that good because they actually get out there and train, and a lot of it's about that, and it's not just about natural skill. I went to school with guys that had heaps and heaps of natural skill, lots and lots of natural skill, but they never trained, they never followed on, and that's in academics and sports and anything really. And they're what people talk about wasted talent, or their high school years were their best years, and that's true for a lot of people, and it's sad. And I still see that around me a lot at the moment, and I think it's a thing where knowledge is power, and you've got to keep developing yourself personally and learning new skills throughout life. Otherwise, you kind of become stagnant, and you sort of you have a little following, and then you lose it. Like, I love to travel a lot. I've been around to a lot of different places, and I'm going to some more places very soon. But some friends of mine, one guy in particular I went to school with, he is travels around the world for work a lot, and I mean everywhere, all through Asia, Europe, Americas, New Zealand, Australia. Loves to go up around Russia and stuff like that. And he's got kind of a little following on Facebook because people want to do that stuff he does, or they just love watching his adventures. And he's pretty good at marketing himself. He seems to have good pictures, and it's desirable to follow him. But if he had doesn't market himself on Facebook, or doesn't put up his stuff, and he'd kind of be more stagnant. And that's kind of where I was when I left school. I didn't really get out there and do what I wanted to do, so I didn't have people kind of talking to me and asking me what I do and how I do it and all those sorts of things. So basically, I'm back to going through my high school years. By the time I'd left grade 12 and graduated, I had a decent mark. I could have gone to uni, but I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I had very low confidence because of that. I think if you notice people in your life that are very low confidence, it's because they're not doing exactly what they want to do, or they haven't found what they're good at, and they're not doing that. I don't know if you notice people around you, like maybe you grew up and your dad's just like focused 100% of the time, and he's got no problems, like there's no depression or any problems like that, because he's doing exactly what he wants to do, and he doesn't even think about it. He doesn't realize it. And it's only people that have problems and don't know what they want to do that kind of study all this stuff and work out why some people are happier than others and all this sorts of stuff. But so I left high school, and I ended up going home and working for the family business in agriculture for about 5 years. And that was probably some of the best times, but also some of the worst times of my life, in terms of I still hadn't worked out my major passions in life. I hadn't developed myself personally. I was in a basic management role for the business, and I had no formal training for that role. And I didn't, I struggled. I was struggling, beating my head against the wall and not going anywhere. The family business wasn't going anywhere, and I didn't know why. I'm not sure if you guys have got that feeling where I tend to like to talk a lot, but I also like to, I don't know if I like to, but I just do. It's my personality. I spend a lot of time in deep thought. And I've seen, since my journey of studying businessmen and investors and stuff like that, I have seen so many people that do spend a lot of time thinking before they speak, which I think is a great trait. But the trouble is, when they're thinking, a lot of the time it's their mentors in their head. They're saying something, and before they do it. I don't know if you have that feeling where just anything you're about to do, and then the little voice creeps in your head, and it's like your mum or your dad saying, "Oh, no, you shouldn't do that because this and this and this," and you know that they're right because they've proven it. So basically, I used to spend a lot of time at home thinking about stuff, but it was a full circle, the thought pattern. So I didn't have new knowledge coming into my head. I had like, for example, if you have debt in your business, was always thinking about how to get out of debt, but I didn't have the knowledge, and I didn't have mentors. I didn't have training. I didn't know that I needed to get mentors to get out of that situation. So I used to spend a lot of time thinking, but my thought pattern would go around and would go, no, I can't do that, can't do that, we can't do that, we can't do that. Or we could do this, but we don't know if it works. And then you'd get back to the start and you'd be like, no problem is solved. So you'd have a problem and I would spend hours thinking about it and it wouldn't get solved. So nowadays, if I've got problems in my business or things that I need to achieve, I've got mentors' thoughts in my head. So when I'm stopped to think, and as I said before, I think it's really cool that people think before they speak. Um, I've got their voices in my head saying, "Oh, you do this," or "Oh, I haven't got time for this." Okay, I can outsource that easily. It's just because they've told me that before, or I can talk to my mentors. I can, people I respect and I know people who've got really good results in their businesses as well. I can talk to them. I can message them. Good mentors are always there and they don't expect anything in return. They just love to share their knowledge. So basically, I went through the whole family business stage and then I went on to leave that business in kind of a hurry. I had finally got to a point where I didn't, it was untenable. I couldn't do any more for the business. I was a mess in terms of I wasn't even wanting to work, put hours in. Wasn't able to help the business. The business was at a point where it was just stagnant, and it still is stagnant, the family business. But I learned a lot of things like you only worry about what you can control. So that's a really cool thing, I think. And it goes for a lot of people who have maybe a lot of family issues and they spend their whole day just worrying, can't sleep, all this stuff, but worry's not going to help because they can't control it. So if you can control it, like if you're if something's happening with your girlfriend and you can change that situation, well, you can do that. That's a good thing, and then you don't have to just sit around worrying. But if, for example, I've talked about this in the past, if you're in a relationship, business or personal, where the other party is not doing much to keep your relationship together, um, that is all basically the only control you have is ending that relationship or continuing it because you can't control another person's actions. So it's really cool how people have really good business partners, and I have some really good people that are 100% on the same page as me. But if you don't, you have to look at that. Typically, I've shot videos before about maybe being like a fighting personality. I would rather try and hold a relationship together instead of just letting it all fall away. And that is a point where you have to be really careful because it's can be unhealthy to you. And if it's a business partnership and they're really not helping you, or, or the opposite of just being like a distraction to your business, you've got to really consider ending that partnership. Otherwise, your business won't grow, and you won't grow, and you just won't be, um, on the same page. So I ended up leaving the business. I had a girlfriend at the time, and we traveled around the world for a few years. I ended up going to Germany. Girlfriend was from Germany, and I lived there for a few years, and it was a good time in my life. I went through a phase where I actually had a lot of money saved up, and I had a few things happening. So it was a cool time in my life, but I still didn't know my passion. So I I discovered I liked traveling, but I didn't know what I was going to do for a living, like business, job, all that sorts of things. And it was only about then that I realized that I don't actually like working for other people because it can be obviously quite strenuous, especially if you have a really terrible boss or you work for a company that has really stressed out managers, or if you want to get a management job yourself, which I studied business, so I've seen a lot of really terrible management jobs where the manager is not, he basically can't sleep and he's stressed and he's losing hair and all that sort of stuff. And I realized I didn't want to climb the corporate ladder into management. I'd rather work for myself and have my own deal. And um, people that work for themselves are like their own men to me. So if you talk about people, there's a lot of feminism stuff around right now, but there's also men that have to be men, and people talking about you have to be the hero, because it's true that a lot of families, you are the provider. You have to be the hero. You have to make the money for the family. You have to have somewhere for the family to live. You have to put food on the table. You have to do all those sorts of things. And if you've got everything under control, it's a really cool thing. But the truth is, couples argue about money so much, and it's the cause of a lot of arguments, and it's because either the dad or the obviously families where the woman is the sole provider as well. But just staying on the men's side of thing at the moment, you haven't got if you have got a bad job where you're really stressed, you come home, you don't want to work, you don't want to go back to work, you don't want to do those sorts of things. Um, these these are the people I'm talking to, by the way. People who don't want to have a boss, people who want to be their own man, and that's why I look at my dad. He was always my idol because he doesn't work for someone. He doesn't get up in the morning and be like, "Oh, I've got to be to work by 7 o'clock," or I'm going to get sacked. It's not. There's none of that. My dad's just like, he's worked hard his whole life. Obviously, being a farmer, gets up early and goes to bed. Finishes work late and stuff like that. But he's his own man. He's created his own life, and that's what I like about you know being in business for yourself, being an investor. So I study people like Donald Trump, Warren Buffett, obviously some controversial figures, Bill Gates. There's guys in Australia like Clive Palmer and people like that, how they've created their whole deal, but just how they're their own men. And that's just cool. That's the coolest thing ever, I think. So if you want to do that, it's totally possible, which is something I never realized for a long time. It took me a long time. I sort of had a bad start to business life in my early 20s. Didn't know a lot of stuff, just didn't learn a lot of things. I didn't know, like, for example, we're in the information age right now. So people like Google doesn't even really make much information. They just sort it with a search engine and make squillions of dollars, right? Because there's such a demand for information. And if I had have been a farmer back in the 1960s, I probably wouldn't be where I am right now, because the information just wasn't there. There wasn't the internet. There wasn't, social media, all those sorts of things. I didn't know that. I didn't read Rich Dad's book where he says a home isn't actually really an asset; it's just an accounting asset. It's stuff like that. That's crazy, right? People just didn't know that back in the day. And like a baby boomer generation, all they wanted to do was go to school, go to uni, maybe get a trade, get a job, and then retire and buy a caravan or a motorhome and cruise around their country when they're old and their knees are stuffed. But that's what they were taught and that's what they did. But nowadays, people are kind of even against, like, I've got a girl I talk to a lot about different types of governments in different countries, like capitalism, socialism, communism, all those sorts of things, like advantages and disadvantages of everyone, because she's obviously in information as well, and she can get hold of all this information. She travels around and sees all this different stuff, and we have in-depth conversations about what works, what doesn't work. Government systems that have typically fallen apart, and like obviously a lot of Western world now is capitalism, but they have capitalism kind of, it keeps going, but it has its own problems, and then you've got the 99 versus 1%ers, all those sorts of things. So information age, we know stuff now. We know stuff. It's all out there. If you find your passion and go out and start pursuing that passion, you can find all the information you want. I mean, there's so much stuff. Like basically anything I want to know, I just go to YouTube. YouTube is a major search engine, by the way. If you didn't realize, you're typing stuff in, searching for videos. It's just like Google. That's why Google own them, obviously. But yeah, so I went through struggle phases for a long time because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So this is leading to the first point of what this webinar is actually about: reaching your goals. And before you can reach them, you have to know what they are, right? So I went from a stage where I didn't know what I wanted to do. Then I went to Germany. I had to go halfway around the world, from Australia to Germany, to find my passions. I was another example of not taking action or doing what you wanted to do. Was when I left school, I thought I wanted to be a civil engineer. So I went to uni in Germany and did one semester of civil engineering, and I hated it. It had been 6 years or something since I'd left school, and I hated civil engineering. I always thought I would want to do it, but I never tried it. So if you're one of those guys out there that's left school, at school, at college, you don't know what you want to do, you know you don't want to work for someone, you need to get out and try things. So my mentors tell me this. I did that. I had to go half around the world to actually find out what I wanted to do. But so I was at uni, right, doing civil engineering. I'd go home at night. I'm watching videos. I'm watching videos of everyone, like Warren Buffett, Rich Dad, a guy called Jamie McIntyre here in Australia, who just shoots out so much knowledge about everything. And it's all about business and investing, how you live your life, all those sorts of things. So I did that, right? And then bang, one night it clicked. I'd been in Germany for, I think it would have been about 18 months. I'd been back to here once in that time, back to Australia. And I was there, and I knew I had to find out what I wanted to do in life. And there was one night it definitely clicked at a college dorm. Was there watching videos with a couple of friends and stuff, and I realized that that is my passion in life. So I thought, why don't I do that at uni as well, or college, as you guys in the US call it? Why don't I do that at uni as well? And that will, that's because that's what I'm interested in. That's why I go home and watch all those videos. I'm not up at night watching engineering videos because I didn't enjoy it at all. I didn't. Hats off to all your engineers out there. Like, it is a really great profession. You need a good IQ to do it, and you have to be practical as well. But it just wasn't my deal. It wasn't my jam. So it took me a long time to realize that. But yeah, so I found my passion. So that's step one. If you don't know what you want to do, you have to go out and start trying things. I sat at home, too scared to travel. All my high school friends had already been traveling everywhere, and I'm like, oh, that's crazy. But I just didn't have the gumption, I guess, to do it. So it took a tipping point for me. I eventually started traveling, and I never looked back. I found my passion, and I've never looked back since then. So I started my business and investing career in Germany. So basically, in the 4 or 5 years, I think it is since then, maybe 4 years or something, once you find your passion, you're kind of content in life. I know for me, I like to travel pretty often. So if I'm in one place for like 6 months or something, it really does. I don't like it at the moment. Like, if I haven't been somewhere for a couple of months now. I just like to get out there. I've had a really busy business growing time, which has been great. But I also work a little bit better when I travel to new places, or places I enjoy. So I typically go places, maybe to the beach or to like holiday resorts, stuff like that, where I get in the right mindset to work. So once I found my passion, I went out and started to pursue it. So part of pursuing it is mentors, going back to my how I was saying before. Once you find your passion, you've got to set goals, and doing that is, you need mentors to help you do that. So I have people in my life and typically being an information age, it's really cool. I've got Warren Buffett as a mentor. He's obviously not personal mentor. I've never met him. I haven't got shares in Berkshire Hathaway. I've never been to one of his big Omaha shareholder meeting deals, but I've got a mentor because I've seen all his advice. Not all of it, obviously, but a lot of his advice on YouTube, on the internet, all those sorts of things. And his investing tips are absolutely crazy, and they're so simple. That's what I learned about business and investing. It's so simple. But the human mind, it's just a trait of the human mind is we try to overcomplicate things. We want to reinvent the wheel and then kind of feel good about that and have satisfaction in that. But the really good business people don't do that. Obviously, some people, when they're creating products, yes, like Apple and Tesla and all those sorts of things, but the strategies they use to do it and test stuff are all exactly the same and copied of other people. So, yeah, don't reinvent the wheel. But for me, I was lucky that I can monetize my passion because I like business investing. I teach people how to do a lot of stuff. Typically, if you've seen my website, colinburnett.com, that's what this shirt is all about. Keep calm and visit colinburnett.com. It is about how to invest, how to market your business, sorry. It's all about marketing yourself, your business, making a brand, and then whatever your passion is, start your business and start solving people's problems, and you will never have major issues again like that in your life, because you know that you're doing something you're passionate about and you actually want to help people. So I talk to a lot of people on Facebook and stuff like that. I email people about they've got problems in their life that they want to solve, and I can solve them for them. So that's basically the business 101. You start a business, you find out people that you get into a niche where there's a lot of problems, and then you go in there, start a business, and start solving them. So that sounds easy, right? But you need a lot of help. You need a lot of, you need a pattern. So my advice to you is to go out and find your own passions. Hopefully you haven't got to go right halfway around the world unless you want to travel around there. But you can get out and try a lot of different things, and once you find people that have done something that you want to do, like for me, I've found people that have made over $1 million online with their businesses, or they make $1 million revenue a year online. I've got offline guys like guys invested in agriculture who make millions of dollars a year. They're all using the same process, and I'm passionate about agriculture as well, but my main focus at the moment is my online businesses and helping people out with them. So basically, that's all I sort of wanted to get to in this video. Find your passions. Get out there. Get out and try a few things. If you know your passion, good. If you don't want to work for someone, you have to start a business. And maybe you have a business already that just needs better marketing tips. If you're not good at something, if you're not good at Facebook ads, outsource it. It's that simple. If you don't like doing something, you find yourself dragging your chain. Like when I'm doing college, I don't like studying. I'm not that good at a study. I really apply myself at times, but it takes me a long time. I procrastinate and then I do it. Procrastinate and do it. One of my mentors, Matt Lloyd, who's got a very big internet marketing business in Australia, based in Australia, he talks about how he still gets distracted with Facebook and stuff like that, and I know I do as well, but I do spend big chunks of times fully concentrated on my business, and then I've got other stuff, little distractions around me as well. But I don't just sit around doing nothing all day, because I've got passions, I've got goals, I've got goals to meet, I've got customers to service, I've got a business that I enjoy running, and it's my passion, so I'm interested in it. But with college, for me, there was stuff we were learning, because in the information age, you know stuff that you're not sort of supposed to, and back in the baby boomers' day, the stuff we learn at college that you don't necessarily like you think you don't need in life. Because at college I did stuff about on being an entrepreneurial based. It wasn't business management. It was more like starting your own business, running your own business, growing your own business, all that sort of stuff. So basically, once you've got your passions, you can go out there and you can basically monetize anything nowadays. If you're in a niche where I know tradesmen in cities in Australia who grow their business to amazing levels through websites, just simple things like that, because they actually get out there and advertise. You don't realize if you're living in a big city right now, if you start to shift your dog washing business into different suburbs, you've got amazing growth potential. And then obviously if you've got an online based business that sells e-commerce products, you've got the world at your feet, and the human mind can't contemplate how much growth potential your business has. So it's absolutely amazing. So once you get your mentors, you should be fine, but you need to actually take action. I know plenty of people who are like, go on the internet, watch one video, they're like, oh, Tony Robbins is cool, he's worth $500 million, I want to be like him. And they will say that for years. That's all. They'll say it, and they're sitting there drinking their coffee in the morning. It's just like a guy called Tony Rush told me once. He has made a lot of money online, and he comes from his daddy was a hog farmer, as he says, in I think it was South Carolina in the US. And he said once, the cows aren't going to go out and muster themselves, and farmers know that. They're not going to go and do it. You have to get up, have your breakfast, go out and get them, put them on the truck, and take them to sale, and then you'll make money from them, obviously. It's the exact same with anything you want to do. So whatever your goals are, you got to get out there and actually start doing them. So if you have to realize right now, if you're drinking a coffee, you've seen, some of my videos, you've seen what my business does, you want to grow your own business, you've seen my website is colinburnett.com. You haven't, if you're sitting there drinking your coffee right now, you have to realize that as soon as we get off air, you have to, or even right now, get off and actually click that website link and actually take action. Start reading stuff. Start watching some of my other training videos. I've actually got a lot of, like, my website's free. My blog is free. There's no sign up fees, none of that. You haven't got to do anything. Obviously all my YouTube channel is free. Crazy amount of other YouTube channels out there with free information on them. So you actually have to get out and start reading that and start learning. So that's a big thing that a lot of people don't do. And that's my last tip for today, is actually take action. So I kind of got caught in that trap when I was younger. I would say I was going to do stuff like going to the gym, for example. I'm not really interested in the gym. I like to keep fit and eat healthy, but I'm not a gym junkie by any means. Definitely am not a gym junkie. It's probably the inner introvert in me, maybe coming from my mum. But you have to actually get out and take action. So if you're sitting there right now and you're drinking a coffee, if it's at night in the US, you've done something, you've had your dinner, you are waiting to, things to happen in your life, you've got to go out there and create them. And that is the cool thing. You can create your life however you want to create it. And that's part of the information age. People know that now, and people start doing it. Like, I've met a guy from Spain in I think it was at Dubai airport about a year ago. And he said he is a programmer for online, obviously, and he travels around doing that. I've got the guy I went to school with is actually a vet, and he travels around the world doing that. Other guys that my mentors, they've got all different types of businesses. People that just do Facebook ads for people and travel around the world. They can do them from anywhere if you've got a laptop and an internet connection. So so many freedom ideas. It's absolutely crazy. Like a guy I went to school with, personal trainer, he can travel around the world doing that. All different stuff. People have got their own businesses and they can run them from all over the world. So basically, I just want to open your mind up and realize that once you've found your passion, you will be wanting to do stuff because you're passionate about it. You want it to happen. Like me, I love to get up and run my business because I love to chat to people. I love to help them out. I don't want guys just sitting around like, oh, I don't know this. I'll be like, I'll tell you this. I'll show you this. Obviously, can't help everybody personally every day. That's why I've got my website and my videos, all that marketing knowledge there ready for people to get in and follow my lead and create a great business and be able to travel and make money online. So basically, this applies to anyone really who wants to start their own business, who's got their own business, wants to grow it, whether travel's a passion of yours or not. Travel's a major passion of mine. There's so many amazing places around the world. I can't believe some people don't like to do it. But again, that's my passion. It's not everyone else's. It's cool. Whatever. If you're happy to stay at home, that's fine. But if you're not happy working with your boss, not cool. I hated it. Definitely don't like that sort of stuff. So basically, yeah, find your passions, get mentors, take action, get off this call right now. Check out my stuff. You can get back to me. You can, on my Facebook page, I'll put a link to that below this video. You can contact me. You can ask me any question you want, and we'll just get started and actually start creating your life and start doing what you want. So I hope you follow me. I hope you leave your comments below, see what you got out of this video, and just make stuff happen in 2016. It's going to be a really good year for me. It's going to be a really good year for you as well if you take action. Obviously, find your passions, mentors, all those sorts of things. Put it all together. I'm here to help you. I love to connect with you, and I love all those sorts of things. So cheers for that, and I'll see you in the next video.